I do. I am returning to that camp after 30 years. I was there as a 10-year-old, and just being back there and seeing the camp so devastated and thinking about those young girls, 8 years old, 9 years old, washed away in the waters. It's just too much for my heart, frankly. You're so full of hope and joy and innocence at a place like Camp Mystic. It's a magical place, and you spend so much of your time out in nature. You spend so much of your time in that Guadalupe River where we had so many wonderful memories. And that same river is the source of so much devastation for these campers. I mean, now at this hour, there's still 10 missing girls and one counselor still missing. I've been speaking to parents. I know that parents have been going to the funeral home here where bodies have been brought to potentially identify their child. It's any parent's worst nightmare. I spoke to another parent tonight who had 3 girls at Camp Mystic. Her girls survived, and she said they survived because of the heroic actions of the camp counselors. She said in one of the cabins for the 9-year-old girls, there were 2 counselors who were told to wait, that Dick Eastland, one of the owners of the owner of the camp, would come rescue them. They watched as Dick was trying to get to them, but the water was rapidly rising and his car got stuck. We know he tragically later died. And those young camp counselors, just out of high school, had to quickly get into action, come up with the game plan. The counselor got her key and took out the mesh of the window in the back of the cabin. The counselors went out, and then they pulled the girls, these 9-year-old little girls, out the window in the rushing water is up to their chest, and handed them each to one another, the 2 counselors plus another counselor from the cabin nearby, and got them up to the hill to safety. I'm told by this parent that the girls just clung to each other with their counselors. They were cold, but they started to sing and they started to pray. And that was the sign and the scene. At other locations around Camp Mystic, I'm told there was another building where the water rose just 2 feet under the second floor where the girls were. They were there praying. They were just in shock by what had happened to them. And they're still trying to absorb and understand what happened to their fellow campers. They were just dropped off at the camp last Sunday. Think about that. They're so excited. They got their trunk they've decorated and their bunk beds all decorated. Their parents give them a hug goodbye. And then just a few days later, this. But there are so many stories of heroism too, like those counselors. Dick Eastland is a hero, and we just spoke to a night manager at the camp who went and saved some girls at a cabin and kept them there floating on their mattresses until the water receded. Those search and rescue efforts, they are still underway, but I just spoke to a state representative earlier, Erica, who said that the hope is dwindling, that they'll find those missing alive, but we're keeping the hope alive out here. Erica.